It's War Dragon time, RPW here with another event guide. Today we're going to be going over the basics of the fight pits. So if you aren't new to the fight pits, then this may be a big repeat for you. However, if you need to know the basics of how to do the fight pits and how to grow from the pit to the Coliseum, then you've come to the right place. Alright, let's get this video started. So the first thing we want to discuss is that this PvP has rounds. Now, that means every time a round ends, you're going to be able to refill using a reset price on your energy packs. Unlike other PvPs where it's every 24 hours, in this one it's going to be for every 6 hours. Once that round is ended, the price will reset on all of your energy packs. And during these 6 hours on each round, you'll be working your way up from the pit to the Coliseum. There are 4 floors in this event: the pit, the jail, the training grounds, and the Coliseum. All teams begin in the pit. Let's hop in the game and go over this a little more detailed. So if you go into your battle tab and scroll clear to the bottom, you're going to find the pit. This is where everyone begins. Now in the pit, you're going to be able to earn up to 50,000 VP per hour. Then if you get out of the pit and you go into the keep, you will earn 75, then into the training ground, which is 125k, and then once you reach the Coliseum, you're going to make a whole 250k per hour. And we'll go over that a little bit in a minute. But let's go ahead and go down to the pit. If you're in the pit, the whole idea is to attack the teams above you. They are worth way more points, so you're going to want to attack that team so that you can climb as well. If you are in the top so many, which will have a green, you will be sent to the keep. Now you're going to do the same thing in this area. You're going to want, your goal is to climb out of the keep. So you're going to want to stay in the top 5 or 6. Then you're going to go into the training ground. Now in this one, again, your idea is to stay in the green so that you can be promoted into the Coliseum. Now in the Coliseum, there can only be one contender. So whoever isn't the contender will drop back down to a lower level. So you want to make sure you do your best to kind of keep your team up there. So that's how you move up and down. Everybody, the very first thing they should do when an event begins, whether it's this or another, is go refresh your memory on the rules for that event. There are some things that differentiate between each of the events. So here you're just going to go through, scroll, and get an idea and be like, oh yeah, that's right, I can do this or I can't do that in this particular event. So be sure to refresh your memory with a quick glance over every time. And it's a very short, informational page. It's not like you're going to be here for an hour reading this up. But we're going to go over this a little bit more in detail right now. First one I want to highlight is Team Plan. Officers can instruct or advise in Team Plan panel. That's going to be found on the bottom right hand side. This is where your officers and leaders can put in that information. Now on the top, you will see energy. If you click that plus sign is going to bring up a menu where you can refill your energy. And at the top, you will see a timer where it says 5 hours and 17 minutes until the refill cost resets. Then to the right, you're going to have your energy fires. You can see here, for example, I have 61. To the left of that is the amount of points you've earned and so forth. Now, your rank is showing there, but you can also go and look at your rank under the tab Prizes and Ranks. So this is the team rank, for example, as of now. Now, in order to climb, you are going to have to earn victory points by stealing these from other teams. Let's go over that in a little bit more detail, which they do explain in the rules section in the info tab. So basically every round you're going to attack other players. Now remember, as we look down through those, each round is worth a certain amount of points depending on the level you are in. Now this is what's going to get you your ranking. Right now, for example, we have 350,000 points. This does not change until the end of the round, depending on what you've earned in total. So they can steal VP points from you. Now, if you take first place, like over here, if we took first place, we would get a champion bonus of 150,000 points on top of what we've earned to go into the total for our round. And so that means people can sneak up on you in the rankings. Your battle for victory points on your floor is different than what's happening on the other floors. So let's say we're in second place right now, and then someone who was in fourth is now going to take championship on the Coliseum level, then they could very well take our position and take second place. If you'll notice on the left hand side, I've got a red arrow that kind of looks like a chart arrow. It goes up and down and up and down and up. The reason is because most of the time, most teams are going to find themselves in that pattern. However, there are those few teams that have either dropped a few leagues or who have started a new team with all their big players that are climbing up into your league to pass you. You might find that they are easily able to take the Coliseum and hold it. So then they just have a straight line up. But if you find yourself in that situation, don't fret. Just keep playing the game. It is just a game. And remember, one day you're going to be a big team too. I'll go over victory points with you guys. Victory points, like I said, is when you attack other teams. So let's say these are other teams back here laying down. And this one is now conquered and it's in the top place. Because it's in the top place, let's say there's 3 more hours left. All of these teams will be focused in on this team that has the most points. Because they're going to want to try to not only get more points for themselves, but they're going to want to try to take this team member down or this team down. So one of the things about victory points is it's very fluid. Every time a team attacks you, they can steal your points just the same as when you attack them. Now, this can be a challenge because of things like mega coins, super attacks, and of course, stacking, or not even stacking, but the idea of them using their inner fires. So what do you do in this case? How do you best fight back in an event like this? Well, there are a few things you can do. We'll just really quickly erase this out so I can kind of give you guys a little more details here. But there are some things you can do. Number one, a lot of times you're going to notice in the very beginning of the event, you don't have a lot of resources. You're having to climb up in your points before you start getting any kind of energy packs or inner fires. And that's when it's going to become super useful to you. Now, if you remember, when we went over the rules, it said that there were 17 rounds total. Now, that means if you're in the very beginning and there's not a lot of points for you to utilize, then it's just the first of 17 rounds, which means you're going to have a lot of energy packs to keep up with that many super attacks. So let's say you do that every round. Remember, there are 17 of them. And that means you're going to have to spend 10 energy packs every one of these rounds just to be able to do, like I said, 5 super attacks. That's going to cost you 170 energy packs total. That's a lot of energy packs. Now let's take it a step further and think about that on the end of mega coins. Now remember, you have to have 100 energies, which is 10 energy packs. And you also have to have 20 inner fires. Are you going to be able to keep up with that for 17 rounds total? So those of you putting all your stuff in the very beginning are not helping your team at all. But what can you do? So in the first few days of this event, you're going to want to take it easy. So do not think that those at the very bottom of this event are doing poorly. It doesn't mean they are. However, they can, take lower rank. You do want to try to climb up in the beginning because it is a VP situation. It's per hour. But in the very beginning, you're going to want to, take your time. Use your energies, do your regular attacks. You can even add your inner fires to your attacks. But basically, you want to keep it steady. You're going to want to keep it steady in your attacks. And then once you get to day 3, you're going to want to kind of bring it up a little bit. And then once you get to day 4, you're going to want to bring it up even more. And on day 5, you're going to want to spike your activity. This is the way to do very well in this event. And this is also a great way in order to kind of fight back against things like the mega coins. So if you have a team come in that's super excited and they want to do all their mega coins, by this point, they're going to run out of things like mega coins. Like I said, unless they have deep pockets. So at this point, if you've saved back all of your stuff, you're going to be able to put a lot more points on the board than them towards the second half. However, if you're at the very bottom, your VP points over here are not going to be climbing much. So it's going to take a lot of team effort working together in order to climb yourself all the way up at the end. So the whole team has to be on board to, do a steady amount and then work their way up and then put in the last of their resources towards the end of this event. The idea is to get out of the pits as soon as possible and then try to bounce back and forth between the three on top. You're not going to want to go overboard and stay in the Coliseum the whole time, but you do want to try to stay in those top 3 floors. Then once, like I said, you get to the last 5 rounds, you're going to want to really boost up your, mega attacks or your super attacks. And that's when you'll really want to use your resources. Now, when it comes to picking your enemy, you can be very smart about this. And the best thing to do is to take someone that you can personally take. And we'll go over in a minute why. But first, let me show you. For example, I'm a level 188. And I could come down here and take this level 182, which is worth 130 points. Or I can try to take the 227 with backup with 137 points. However, the 182, which is only 7 points less, would be a lot more likely for me to beat it. But let's say I'm a level 50 and I'm looking for something and I know I can take out a level 60 with the dragons I've earned. I'm only going to earn 97 points, but what if I ask someone to help back me on a level 100? Well, I'm only going to earn a total of 116 points. It's not really a lot more than what you think. So what happens if they do back you and you don't win? Then you might get less than your original 96 points. Well, let's go ahead and go over that with our trusty Procreate app. I love this app. Okay, so let's say, like I said, you could take a level 60 and this would give you a total of 97 points. But if you had a higher level, maybe a 105 back you on a level 100, then you might get 116 points. Now the difference between these is only 19 points. 19 points doesn't really add up unless you can get a lot of players to back you. So is it really worth 19 extra points? Well, let's just look and see. Imagine for a moment that level 105 backs you, and there are 3 players backing them, and they don't even breach the first island. Now all of a sudden you've lost, which means you are going to get far less points than you expected. Probably around 80 points. We'll just be friendly and say 80 points total. So now you've gotten 17 less than you would have gotten if you had done the original attack of a level 60. So sometimes this is not the best plan. If you do decide to get back up, make sure you go well between your level and the level above you so that you can be more guaranteed on your win. Now, there are other reasons why you should not be leaning on backup. Now, of course, this isn't so crucial in the hours leading up to the end of a round, but in the last hour of a round, everyone should be working together and not backing each other up. And I'm just going to show you really quickly how I showed my team the best way to understand why this is important. Now, let's say for a moment that 20 of the players on your team are in at the same time. They're all in to do their last attacks for the last part of the round. Now these circles are going to represent the players, the 20 players we're discussing that are in ready to do their attacks. And all 20 of these players are going to be able to make points for themselves, which will add to the total points for the team. Now, of course, we're going to put this in 4 different corners so that we can divide them up also by levels. Now we're going to say the top left is all your levels above 100. And then maybe on the top right is all of your levels from 80 to 100. And then on the bottom left hand side, maybe it's level 50s to 100. And then on the bottom right is all those that are under a level 50. Now, if everyone at the same time attacks someone their level, then the bottom right's going to maybe earn 70 points per attack. Then the players on the bottom left are going to be able to earn, we'll say about 90 points per attack. And then on the top right, maybe 100 points per attack, and the top left 120. Now, if they all go in together and they do one attack, how much does this equal? That's where it really gets fun.
So on the bottom right, I'm sorry, not the bottom right, the top left, the players on the top left are going to be able to go in and earn 120 points each in one attack. So in all, they're going to be able to earn a total of 600 points, just them doing their attacks. And then those on the right hand side, because they're taking 100 points per attack, are going to be able to bring in a total of 500 points for their one attack all together. And then the bottom left, pretty much the same thing. They're going to bring in a total of 450. And on the bottom right, they're going to bring in a total of 350. And I think I said 150 before, but I meant 450 for the bottom left, 350 for the bottom right. Now, when you add all this up, it's actually quite fancy. You're going to actually earn a total of 1,900. To put 1,900 and I wrote 1,200. Okay, so what about if these players up here back the players underneath? So we've got 10 players on top that can back the players on the bottom. So let's see how much more of a difference this makes during this time. All of these players back those below. What kind of points is your team going to make then? Okay, so let's say that these are the 10 individuals that need to back up from the 10 higher level players. Now we'll say that on the left hand side, the 100s backed them, and on the right side, the level 80s backed the ones on the right. That means those on the left could get up to 120 points, while those on the right get up to 100 points. Now this means in total, because nobody attacked on the above, will only earn a total of 1,100 points for their team. That is a huge difference. Oops, I put 11,000. I meant 1,100 points. That is a huge difference. That's 800 points less than if everybody attacked together. Now, if you're doing any kind of mega coin attacks and you ask for a level 150 to back you because you're wanting to take a level 100, then of course, ask for that backup. And then if there's not a lot going on and let's say a level 150 is like, hey dude, I have finished my regular attacks and I've got time. Does anybody need backup? Then ask for them. But again, if you're doing a mega attack, you may want to bring in backup just in case. But don't get stingy and go too high so you don't lose those points. So that's the basic reason why you should be careful asking for backup. Not saying it's a bad thing, but it's not always the best choice. So let's go ahead and go into the game. I've refilled on my energies. And every time I refill, I like to go in and do 4 attacks. This is the best way to keep a steady amount of points for your team. So we're going to do a basic attack, no inner fires. And if you'll notice, I'm taking a 171 even though I'm in the 180s. The reason I do this is because of possible defenders. And ironically, looky here, we've got 2 jumping in to defend. So if I was taking someone my level or maybe a little higher, I might find myself in a situation where I can't take this. So even a lot of higher level players will actually go lower than their actual level to ensure that their attack is successful. You never know when a defender might be waiting on the other side. Not all levels are made equally. You might take a level, 150 that has 20 million defense, for example, and then you might take one that's a little bit bigger that has a little less. So you've kind of got to look at what the defense is, and you got to look at what level the towers are, especially before you have somebody else back you. You might want to tell them, what's your tower limit? Ask that, and they might tell you, look, if there's any level 41s, there's no way. I'm not going to be able to get it. So then you can kind of look at that. Or if they say, well, look, my attack power is 30 million. But again, if there's anything above a level 41, then there's no way we're going to be able to get it. But did I really lose that many points by going lower? Well, let's just look and see. Now that the attack is finished, I got 100%. And we will let this tally up and show us what we earned. Now again, this is with no inner fires, and it's just a regular attack. But as it loads here, we've got a total of 130. Now, if I had gone above my level, what kind of points could have I gotten? I believe in here we've got the leader at the top, which is a 201. Could have got 104 points, which is only 4 points more. So you've really got to ask yourself, are those extra points worth it? A lot of times I say the answer is definitely no. All right, guys, so that is our first event guide on fight pits. I apologize for, directing you guys to my first event guide in the event guide series and not having them. I think I confused the video I did for my team a while back with the ones I've done for you guys. So that is our very first official event guide video on the fight pits, and we will do a more advanced one in the next fight pits that does come out. And I really hope that this helped you and your team. If you have any extra questions that is related to the fight pits or any tips that you'd like to give out, then be sure to put that in the comments section below the video. All right, guys, if you missed my live stream about this, I wanted to let you know I am so excited that right now, as of this moment, we have 486 subscribers. Once we reach 500 subscribers, we are going to start giving away a gift pack every week. The first one will be a $20 giveaway for your game. So whenever you do your events, you're going to have some cool little goodies to help you in that. So if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, be sure to go subscribe for that so that you can help grow those numbers and we can get these giveaways started. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. Again, if you have any questions or concerns or comments, feel free to put that in the video section below. And if you liked today's video, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and sign up for notifications so you know when we go live or when we post a new video. All right, happy hunting. Enjoy your event.